Welcome to Splendid Tales, where justice meets the unexpected. Tonight's story is about arrogance, corruption, and a woman who turned fear into fury. They thought they were raiding a criminal, but they broke into the home of someone who writes the law. Generation 1, The Break-In. The city slept under a curtain of rain. Inside apartment 5B, Dr. Naomi Hart, a calm, calculating woman in her late 30s, sat at her kitchen counter typing away on her laptop. She wasn't just working, she was building a case that could shatter a precinct. Then the sound came. A thud, a second, and then boom. The door burst open, wood flying across the room. Police! Down on the ground! Six armed officers stormed in, drenched in adrenaline and arrogance. Leading them was Sergeant Ray Dalton, his jaw tight, his eyes already accusing. What the hell? Who are you? Dalton. Police raid. You're under arrest for narcotics trafficking. Naomi. There must be some mistake. Dalton. Save it for the courtroom. He grabbed her arm, slammed her against the wall, and cuffed her wrists. Her laptop clattered to the floor, files scattering like confetti. Naomi. Hey, you have the wrong apartment. Sure we do. That's what they all say. Officers rummaged through her drawers, ripping open folders, knocking over picture frames. Then one of them, Corporal Vega, froze. He'd just found a black leather case on the kitchen counter. Vega, Sarge, you might want to see this. Dalton snatched it, flipped it open, and froze. The gold shimmer of an FBI badge stared back at him. Federal Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Naomi Hart. The entire room went silent. Naomi turned, eyes blazing. Naomi. Congratulations, Sergeant, you just kicked down a federal agent's door. They thought they had caught a criminal, but they had just handcuffed justice itself. If you're still watching, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Dalton's confidence cracked. His voice dropped low. Dalton, this can't be real. We had intel. Reliable intel. Naomi, from who? The same informant you paid last month to fabricate a warrant? Or the one who vanished after testifying against your unit? Vega shifted uneasily. The rain outside drummed against the shattered door, each drop punctuating the silence. Naomi, you've been running a racket under the city's nose. Illegal raids, planted evidence, missing money from the forfeiture fund. You built a kingdom of lies, and tonight you broke into the wrong palace. Dalton's eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. Oh, I don't bluff. She raised her cuffed wrist slightly, chin lifted. See that bookshelf camera? It's live streaming to the Bureau's database. Every second of this raid, every insult, every threat is already in federal custody. Vega swallowed hard. Ma'am, we didn't know. The warrant said, Naomi, the warrant said 3B. This is 5B. Dalton's face drained of color. Naomi stepped closer, voice steady as thunder. You kicked in a federal agent's door without verifying an address. You want to talk about intel? Try intelligence. She leaned in, cold and deliberate. You didn't arrest a suspect, Sergeant. You just handed me your entire department. The hunter had become the hunted, and the truth was just getting started. If you're still here, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe, because the next part is where corruption collapses. Dalton's voice trembled, but he tried to hold on to authority. Dalton, you think one video changes anything? You don't know who you're dealing with. Naomi tilted her head, calm and surgical. Oh, I know exactly who I'm dealing with. A sergeant with a history of falsified arrests, 2 missing evidence logs, and a lieutenant who's already under federal watch. Dalton's jaw clenched. Dalton, you don't have proof. You just handed it to me. She nodded toward the blinking red camera light. You stormed my home with no warrant verification. That's unlawful entry, aggravated assault, and obstruction of justice, all live. Vega lowered his weapon. His voice was a whisper. Sergeant, we're done. She's telling the truth. Don't you dare, Naomi, interrupting. Touch that camera, and you'll be in cuffs before sunrise. She stepped closer, her presence commanding despite the chaos around her. Naomi, you came here expecting a criminal. What you found is your career's obituary. Dalton stared at her, breathing hard, realization dawning too late. Naomi lifted her cuffed hands. Now, take these off. Vega hesitated, then obeyed. The metal clicked open, the sound echoing like a verdict. Naomi rubbed her wrists, eyes never leaving Dalton. You wanted a bust? Congratulations, Sergeant. You just busted yourself. Narrator voice, outrow for Generation 3. The badge had turned the tables, and justice was no longer knocking. Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. By dawn, the city's heartbeat had changed. The once feared South Division precinct was now swarming with federal agents. Files were seized, officers suspended, and the media swirled like vultures outside. Inside the bureau's glass tower, Naomi Hart stood before a wall of monitors, reviewing footage from her living room. Every second of the illegal raid, crystal clear. Behind her, Director Ames entered quietly. Ames, you handled that well, Agent Hart. Naomi, without turning. I didn't handle it. They did. They handled their own downfall. Cut to Sergeant Dalton, sitting in an interrogation room, stripped of his badge, his hands shaking as Naomi's voice echoed from the recording. You came here expecting a criminal. What you found is your career's obituary. The truth had teeth now, and it was biting back. Later that afternoon, Naomi faced the press on the courthouse steps. Rain glistened on her trench coat as she spoke, her tone steady and fierce. Naomi, open quote, they kicked down my door thinking they were chasing a suspect. But corruption doesn't knock, it breaks in. And when it does, truth kicks harder. Close quote. The crowd erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. Dalton was let out in cuffs, irony in motion. Naomi looked straight into one lens and said quietly, Naomi, justice wasn't late. It was patient. And that night, corruption learned a hard truth. When power turns cruel, truth becomes the hammer. If you love this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because here at Splendid Tales, justice always finds the address.